Welcome to our deep dive into the biggest AI news from today, January 24th, 2025. Get ready for robots, a project with a sci-fi name, and even some presidential curveballs.
AI is everywhere, it seems. It really feels like the future's already here.
Okay, well, let's jump right in with the biggest news. President Trump signed a new executive order on AI today.
It's a big shift, especially considering his past time in office. This order emphasizes removing any barriers to American AI innovation, focusing on things like economic competitiveness and national security.
Sounds like the administration wants the U.S. to be #1 in the AI race.
Yeah, but it's a little more complicated than that. The order also calls for changes to existing AI guidance documents. These are like the rules for how the government uses AI tech.
Okay, I see.
Plus, there's a new working group. It's dedicated to creating a framework for digital assets, which includes AI, models, data sets, algorithms, all of that.
That's a big deal. This new framework could affect everything from research to how different industries use AI.
Exactly. It's like the groundwork for a new era of AI in America. And this is just the beginning. The full AI action plan won't be out for another 180 days.
We'll definitely have to deep dive into that when it comes out. But now, how about a story that sounds like a movie? Project Stargate.
Sounds like science fiction, right? But the money is very real. $500 billion to build a foundation for AI in America.
Wow. That means more data centers, better networks for faster processing, and more resources for researchers. This is all about building the infrastructure for AI here in the U.S.
The goals are pretty ambitious, boosting national security, speeding up AI innovation, and of course keeping the U.S. in the lead.
$500 billion is a lot of money, though. It makes you wonder, can they actually manage this effectively? It's definitely one to keep an eye on.
For sure. If Project Stargate is a success, it'll change AI in the U.S. and around the world.
Let's switch gears now and talk about the private sector. Companies like Verizon are also making big AI moves.
They just announced AI Connect, a suite of tools to help businesses implement AI. It shows that AI is moving beyond the research lab and into the real world.
So Verizon wants to be the go-to for businesses using AI. They'll offer the computing power, the expertise, everything.
Right, and we're seeing this a lot now. As AI grows, more companies are offering the tools and services to make it more accessible.
It's like a gold rush for AI. Everyone wants to help businesses mine its potential. But all this AI needs a lot of power. And that leads to our next story. How do we balance progress with sustainability?
President Trump announced plans to speed up building power plants just for AI data centers. He might even use emergency powers to do it.
I get it. AI needs a lot of power to run. But what about the impact on the environment?
Critics are worried about fossil fuels,
Yeah.
especially the idea of using coal as a backup power source. Reliable power is important, but so is switching to sustainable energy.
It's the classic problem. Advancement versus responsibility.
And there isn't an easy answer. It's a question we have to keep asking as AI grows. How do we power it without hurting our planet?
Let's go inside a warehouse now and see how AI is already changing things.
Ambi Robotics is making news with its robots that use AI for sorting. These aren't your average robots either.
I'm listening.
They can recognize items, handle complex tasks, and adapt to changes around them.
It really gives you a peek into the future of work. Robots working alongside humans, doing what people used to do.
It makes you think about the future of the workforce. Will these robots create jobs or take them away? It's a complex issue.
This is just a taste of what's happening with AI. We've covered a lot, but there's still more to unpack. Stay tuned for part 2 of our deep dive, where we'll explore even more.
It's amazing how much we covered in just that first part. It really shows how fast AI is changing.
It does feel like every day there's something new. But before we move on, I want to go back to something you said about President Trump's executive order. The part about removing barriers to American AI innovation.
Yeah, that's a tricky phrase, isn't it? It sounds good, but what are those barriers and who decides?
Exactly. What if they're trying to remove barriers and end up overlooking ethical issues?
That's a good point. We need to be careful that innovation doesn't happen too fast. It's like building a skyscraper without a good foundation. You might get high, but the whole thing could be unstable.
Speaking of building, let's talk about Project Stargate again. We talked about the money, but what will it actually be used for?
A lot of it will be used to build data centers all over the country. Imagine huge server farms with tons of processing power, all connected by super fast networks. These data centers will be like the brains of AI, where they train and run these complex AI models.
So they're not just throwing money at research, they're building what they need to support that research.
Yes, exactly. It's a big plan. The funding will also go to research and development, of course, but also education and training programs so we can have more AI experts in the future.
Yeah.
And they want to help government agencies, universities, and companies work together.
It's like they're creating a whole system for AI innovation here in the US.
That's the idea. And it's ambitious, but it could really make a difference. But we can't forget, the U.S. isn't alone in this.
Right. Other countries are also working on AI. It's a global competition now.
Definitely. Countries like China are paying close attention to Project Stargate. This isn't just about technology, it's about global power in the 21st century. AI is becoming so important for economies, militaries, even how societies change.
So Project Stargate is about more than just building AI. It's about who will lead the world.
And that brings us back to those ethical questions, because with power comes responsibility. AI is probably the most powerful tool humans have ever made.
It's like giving someone a toolbox full of incredibly powerful tools, but without knowing how to use them safely. It could be dangerous.
You're right. That's why it's so important to have these conversations now while AI is still developing.
We have a chance to shape AI and make sure it's used to help everyone, not just a few people.
Exactly. We need to think about the consequences, good and bad. We need to be ready for challenges and adapt.
And AI isn't just a technology issue, it's a human issue.
And that brings us back to those robots in the warehouses. It shows how AI is changing how we work.
Those AI-powered sorting robots from Ambi Robotics are pretty cool. It's amazing how they can recognize things, adapt, and do these difficult tasks.
It's incredible how far AI and robotics have come. But it makes you think about jobs.
Yeah, the question of AI taking jobs is a big one now.
Some people think millions of jobs will be lost to automation. But it's not necessarily a bad thing.
It's more like things are changing, not disappearing.
Right. AI can do certain things better than humans, which means humans can focus on other things. Things that need creativity, critical thinking, those uniquely human skills.
So the jobs of the future will probably involve working with AI.
That's right. We need to be ready for this new reality. We need to teach people the skills they need to work in an AI-powered world.
So it's about helping people adapt so they aren't left behind.
Exactly. And this changes how we think about education and work. It's not just about learning one skill, it's about being able to learn new things all the time.
So it's about being okay with change and seeing technology as something that helps us.
Yes. And it's about making sure everyone benefits from AI, not just a few.
And now that you mentioned benefits, let's talk about the ethical side of all this AI progress. And we're back for the last part of our deep dive. It's been a day of big news, big investments, and big questions about the future of AI.
AI is not science fiction anymore. It's here, it's changing fast, and it's already affecting all of us.
And that brings us to a really important point, the ethics of AI. It's exciting to see new technology, but we can't forget about the risks.
It feels like we're at a crossroads. The decisions we make now will shape the future of AI and how it impacts humanity.
We've talked about some ethical concerns already, but let's dig a little deeper. For example, we discussed how AI might replace jobs. How do we make sure AI benefits everyone, not just the people in power?
That's a tough question, and it needs a lot of different solutions.
Sure.
We need to invest in education and training so people have the skills they need to work with AI. We need policies that help workers who lose their jobs because of automation. And we need to encourage people to keep learning and adapting throughout their careers.
So we have to change how we think about work in general.
Exactly. We can't hold on to old ideas about jobs. We need to be open to new opportunities and use AI to create a fairer and more successful society for everyone.
Another ethical concern is bias in AI systems. We talked about this with President Trump's executive order, but it's a much bigger issue.
AI systems learn from data, and if the data is biased, the AI will be biased too.
So we could end up with AI that discriminates against certain groups, even if the people who built it didn't mean for that to happen.
That's right. That's why it's so important to have diverse teams building AI to make sure different perspectives are included.
And we need to constantly test and check AI systems for bias.
Transparency is important too. People need to know how AI works and how it makes decisions. We can't just trust it blindly. We need to hold it accountable.
It's like any powerful tool. We need to use it responsibly and ethically.
And that takes ongoing conversations and collaboration between everyone involved. The people building AI, the people making policies, the experts on ethics, and the public.
It's about having those tough conversations and making choices about what we want the future with AI to look like.
We need to move past the hype and the fear and really think about what this technology means.
What values do we want AI to reflect? What kind of world do we want to build with it?
Those are questions we can't answer in one deep dive.
But hopefully this conversation is giving you something to think about.
AI is changing fast.
It's up to all of us to stay informed and involved in shaping its future.
The future of AI is the future of humanity.
And that's a future worth working towards.
And that's it for our deep dive into the top AI news from January 24th, 2025.
We covered a lot today, but there's always more to explore.
The AI revolution is happening now.
And it's going to be an incredible journey.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.